Welcome to AFlame Ministry, and it is my joy today to welcome as my guest Diann Alexander. She is the creator of Awakening the Singer Within and has helped thousands of singers build confidence, expressive voices for over 50 years, and combining a lifetime of teaching and composing and performing with energy work and alchemy crystal bowls. Diann helps singers discover renewed love of musical expression, communication, and community. Diann, welcome to AFlame Ministry.
Thank you so much. I am honored to be here and so excited to share this with your audience.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. This is beautiful collection of bowls, and you know, I don't really know what alchemy crystal bowls are and how those are different, except for, well, give us a little something about them, just so that we know what they are.
Well, alchemy crystal singing bowls are 99% pure quartz crystal, but they have other elements put in. This one has several elements involved in it as well. It has in here the Mount Shasta, Serpentine, Sedona, Red Rock, Mother of Platinum. So what that has is it has parts of earth from different sacred parts of the earth, like Sedona, Red Rock, and Mount Shasta. And it might also have some other sort of thing, like the platinum gives it another quality to it and a different sound. And all of these affect both the vibration of the sound and also the vibration of the listener. One of the cool things about crystal singing bowls and why they help us so much is their vibration of crystal is so even. It's like, did you know they use crystals in televisions and electronics for decades because they have such an even vibration? And when we get out of sorts, our vibration kind of gets a little wonky. Well, how does that affect us? Well, they're crystalline. We're crystalline. We're 80% water. Water is a crystalline subject. And so when you get next to a nice, even vibration, you start to attune, to attrain to match that vibration. And we feel a calming instinct when that happens. And for me, it's so delightful because everybody feels it a little bit differently. They feel each pitch in a different place in their body. And the same bowl, the same note of that particular one will affect two different people very differently. And this is a strange thing unless you've experienced it, but sometimes the bowls play differently on different days, depending on who they're with. And I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it. Sometimes they play nice and brightly for you, and other times it just seems like they want to play nice and smooth. And I'm sure that has a little bit to do with me, but a lot with them. So it truly is an alchemy. These various bowls in here, I chose several that have properties, both of the note, because the different notes, the tones in a scale, vibrate with different parts of our body, different energy centers. And as we're all familiar, we hold emotions in different parts in our body. You know, if you have a situation with a relative or something, you have that thing in your stomach, or your heart is sad, or your heart is happy, or you feel like you just can't say what you want to, or it just comes out with joy. They all feel in different parts in your body. And each of these different bowls vibrate and correspond to those different parts. And rather than getting people's heads involved, I like to show them and just say, where do you feel this?
Okay, well, why don't you do that and give us a little demonstration, and then we'll talk about how this interacts with community. So give us a little bit of a demonstration there.
So my favorite bowl to start with, if I'm going to do a sound bath for someone, is this low. It's called a grandmother, and what gives it the orange color is it has a bit of iron in it. So it's a very grounding bowl and sound. It's a little low, and hopefully this comes over Zoom, but just notice in your body what you're feeling now, and notice where you might happen to feel this. Many people feel like they're getting a hug.
Yeah, and for me, it feels kind of just warm in the center of my being.
Yay! That's, I think, what the grandmother does. Now, I have another bowl, the exact same pitch, but it's a completely different alchemy. And I want you to see if you can notice over the airways if there's a difference in the vibration for you.
That one vibrates higher up in my being, um, for whatever reason. It's also a very pleasant
Mm-hmm.
feeling and sound to it. So,
For me, this one is brighter. It has lots of strong energy, where
mhm,
this one is more peaceful, more energy, more calm, like a hug. And when I'll usually start with the grandmother and then move up over to this beautiful C and sometimes play them together. And
mhm,
also, the same note in a different octave also feels in a different place, even though it's the same note, it's a different octave.
mhm. Yeah.
And
So,
one more, same note, up one more
okay.
octave.
Hmm. Playing them all together creates a real nice harmony feel to it. And it's just, kind of a full container around.
That's awesome you say that. The note C, which all of these are, is considered the root note, the grounding note, the most grounding note.
Mhm.
There's one up a little higher. This one is the grandfather, also with a different form of alchemy on the outside. And this,
Mm. That one goes kind of right to the center of my being.
it does for me too. And these two together,
Mhm. Yeah. So, so when you do these things or people sing, now this is something coming to us from the outside. The bowls, the vibration. How is that different from when somebody is singing and the vibration comes from within our being?
I like
Starting there.
ask that. There's so many different ways that we perceive sound. We have the way we know inside the ears, but one of the things when you sing that people don't think about, other than they feel like they sound weird on a recording, is that when you sing yourself, that vibration moves up the bones in your head to your ears in an entirely different way. In fact, most people know that Beethoven was deaf toward the end of his life, and he heard his vibrations by having a metal rod that he put in his teeth and put on the piano so he could hear the vibration. And
Mm,
it's the same where deaf dancers dance. They feel the vibration through their feet. So even though we feel that, oh, I can only have the experience of hearing it, we perceive the sound in different ways. There's even studies that show that our skin acts as radio antennas and we pick up sound that way as well. It's so fascinating. So what the bowls do is they bring you to a place of center, to a place of awareness, to a place of internal where we become one, more centered, more grounded, more peaceful. From this place, the singing, you're more aware of your own vibration, where it's going to vibrate in your head. And for me, the bowls center and ground and put people in that space where you can really connect spirit, body, mind, all, because you can feel them. It brings you present. The reason it's so hard when people just sing and they don't feel like they're connecting with people is they're so in their minds and they're so scattered out, they're not even perceiving what's going on in here. So when you have like a call to worship, how's that? Of a
mhm,
it brings you in this moment to start to feel yourself. You start to notice, oh, where am I feeling that in my body? Then when you add the breath into that space, the vibration, it's like your whole insides can open up in a way that they didn't before. They're in training to this steady vibration. Then if you can add a different pitch, I love this one. It's kind of like my like a creamsicle. It's a bowl on a stick.
yeah,
Because when you play this one, it's called Laughing Buddha, also a form of iron. With it, you can also bring the sound in different places. And this is where I'll show you how The sound with the voice kind of goes with it, and I'll let you have your own experience with it. But
That's interesting. So interesting to match the voice with the sound from and the many different kinds of sounds from within the bowl.
so I was like, curious, how did you feel that? How did you perceive it?
Well, for one, I was watching you, so it, and but it felt I could feel the singing. I could feel the tones as you were doing that.
So that piece, as you feel the singing from me, it's kind of like when you go into a room and someone's in a great mood and you go, ooh, I want to go stand by them. And you just pick it up and feel it. And when you stand by them, you start to pick up your own vibration. This does that sonically. And when we bring a bowl into the mix to center ourselves and start to sing with the bowl, other beings around start to center both of the bowls and each other. And you create this communion, actually, of vibration and of sound. And our differences kind of melt away. They don't kind of, they do, they melt away. And we start to really hone in on that expression that is us, that life force that is us, that basic line of love that is us. And it's like the rules, the ideas of the day, everything that keeps our monkey minds really busy this gets a chance to rest. It's not a bad thing. It's just a busy thing. And when it gets a chance to rest, the rest of us gets to come into play.
You know, everything you're saying reminds me of a part in, I don't know if you've ever read C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, and there's one of the 7 volumes that talks about the creation of the world of Narnia, and it's created by Aslan singing everything into being. And as you were talking about that, that's the imagery that comes to mind. Genesis talks about the word becoming and everything coming into being. And when we speak, that's vibration. And so also the singing and the creative, you were talking about this as, the differences melting away. It's creating a community in the midst of this. So when worshipers, whatever faith they might be, practice some form of vocal meditation or singing of some form, that is, you mentioned the call to worship. I never really thought about that other than, oh, that's a nice little thing at the beginning of a worship service. But you've added another element that it's a way of opening us up to receive the rest of the vibration that's there and the community. And then the singing is also a way of not just people joining in favorite music, but it sounds like what you're saying, it kind of bonds us to one another vibrationally.
Everything is energy, from the smallest atom that has a center and pieces whirring around it to the planetary system that has a sun with planets whirring around it. And we're just different densities and different frequencies. If you think of like, for instance, water can be solid or liquid or gas. They're just different energies. And when you get into the energy of our bodies, we have the density of bone, a little less dense for muscle, a little more for our fluids, and even less for the air that we breathe. As the vibrations get faster, you get sound is next. And after sound, you get thought, and then spirit as they go in faster and faster vibrations. So the more of these that you can activate, as it were, and you get to do it just plain when you breathe. You're activating your body, you're activating the spirit, breath the spirit in. And when you have other sounds as a sonic invitation as a sonic means of connecting with each other, it creates such a community in a room. And it's, for me, in my experience, it's been almost instant pretty much every time. The minute people hear it, they kind of go, oh, it brings you present in the moment. And as we know, being present, that's it. That's the only life we really have. Not worrying about what we did do or what we might do, but the joy is in that present moment. And a sound,
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that the like any piece of music, there's harmonic overtones and undertones and all of that that goes in with that, and how each note is valuable. And I think of that as also a way of drawing people into community, that each person is almost like a note, and we bring, everybody in. In fact, just remembering, I did a sermon once where talking about how each person's valuable, and then went to the piano and played a familiar tune and left out a note that they would see. And it's like, what's wrong with the melody? It's not there when there's that note missing. And we're all part of that. We all play the music together. We become, from what I'm getting from you, we become a song as a community.
I just had an idea, if I may. If
Mm-hmm.
we have two pitches going, pretend they're two people, and then I'm going to join them. I'm just curious what your experience is, because it's like, if people are all these different, their own vibrations, their own particular alchemies of personality, of genetics, of whatever they bring to life, of their own spirit and so forth, and how you can bring yours to it and the two become something else. Like, for instance, let's go with our uh, and these two stayed the same, but in both demonstrations, we did something different in the middle, and you got a whole new
Right,
expression.
right, right. And it's your voice, in a sense, completed and took each of those to a different level.
And I think that's what we do for each other,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we're singing.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't have to be good, it just needs to come from the heart with a nice full breath.
yeah. And I think that's, yeah, so often as a worship leader and as a pastor, I look out and there are people singing and then there are others just standing there. And it's like, yeah, maybe they can't carry a tune in a bucket, but to still express that vibration. And I think of my own father. He didn't sing very much, but when I would stand next to him, he was not. I don't have perfect pitch, but he was really in there, and he didn't have the confidence of his own singing ability. But I think most people would fall under that category if they would just be willing to open up to the vibration. They might find that they can do a lot more with the
And
singing
still
than
receive
they
so
do.
much benefit to open to feel. Because if you feel the vibration, whether you're actually doing it or someone else is doing it, your whole body system is activated. Your spirit is so happy because, as we said, those different densities of, if you get into the science of the whole thing, the different densities, the different speeds of energy as it goes up, delight in sound, delight in color, light and color are just even faster vibrations of
Mhm.
sound. But when you come back to, and the word was sound and the word was God, the
Mhm.
word is sound. That is a creative element. And
Right.
I've had, I teach singing, as you know, and I've had students come in sometimes so distraught over this, that, or the other. And I said, okay, on the floor with your feet on the massager. I'm going to play you some bowls and you're going to smell an essential oil. And within minutes, we have them centered and ready to have a nice lesson.
Mm.
There's so many things we can do for ourselves that don't take a lot of time that can bring us back to who we really are, which is that loving sense. I
Yeah.
always like to say, how do you know if it's really you or not? If there's a good, a bad, or a should in it, it's not you. You're the one who loves. You're the one who plays. You're the one who's in the moment. You're the one who's so, when you're in the zone, that's you. That's the real you. And these beauties can help you find that quickly. Or even your own singing can help you find that quickly too, if it's a favorite tune, a favorite
Mhm.
hymn, a favorite song.
Yeah. Yeah. And, everything you're talking about keeps reminding me of the different cultures around the world and their use of music, like uh, Tibetan bowls, where there's a sound that goes with that. And in Japan, there's a group of people on a particular island that have formed a troupe of drummers mostly. And it's
Mm.
the most athletic, precise drumming I've seen them a couple of times that I've ever witnessed, and the precision is awesome. But the drumming they do is it becomes the heartbeat, the vibrations of the drums. You literally feel it in every fiber and bone while watching that. And this does the same thing on a different level.
It does. And each of the different bowls, if we would have time to sit and play them separately, once you start to center into the different ones, they have their own vibrato, if you will. And that series of overtones that it has next to another one, you start to experience how they go in at each other. And sometimes it's this way and sometimes it's this way. And in another subject, entirely, you've heard of binaural beats. That's how sometimes the vibrations go together this way, but they're magnificent for learning, for clearing. So depending on what your goal is, there's sounds that's going to really help you do that. And for our goal of community, I think the more you can center in and open yourself and feel the sound, not just listen to it, but where does it hit you in your body? Even when you sing, where does it feel in your body? I
Mhm.
often have people when they're first learning to sing, put their hand on their chest and say, now make a low sound. Whoa. Now that's nice. Now make it go up. Whoa. And when they do, I say, did it stay in your chest? And they go, no, because sound is vibration. The faster the pitch, the faster the vibration, the higher it goes. And that's just a way to start to feel inside your body where that is. Another one would be to have your hand on your belly when you breathe. Can you actually breathe low enough to feel your belly? And then have the air come from there. And then on our energetic side, this, of course, is a major wisdom center in the belly. And when we hold it all tight and just breathe shallowly, we're not getting those messages or having access to that. By singing, you get to have access to this wisdom center. You get to activate your all the sonic things. You get to
Mhm.
bring in oxygen and wonderful tones that way. And like you're that person now in the party where everybody wants to come in and train and play with you.
Yeah. So you're bringing a whole nother sense to me of the part and importance of music in faith communities. Well, and actually in any community. But, we're talking faith communities and what we feel inside, but then the vibration we carry out into the world through that is perhaps another aspect of it, that what we're doing with music can either be inviting to someone new, or it can be, kind of like, stay away, depending upon the community and the person coming in. But uh, that we could perhaps learn to use music more as a way of not just the words carrying the message, but the vibration and the whole feeling of carrying the message.
Would you like to try something fun? If
Sure.
you have like a small, short prayer, I'd like you to say it, and then we're going to do it again, and I'm going to play bowls behind it and compare the difference of how they feel. Would that be fun?
Well, let's take a very familiar prayer, the
Perfect.
Lord's Prayer. That's and so that other people can hear it and feel it too. Okay.
Perfect.
So that it's our Father, and I'm going to use a very traditional form. Our
Right.
Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
So beautiful. Ready?
Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Forever and ever keeps going.
It does. They
Yeah,
sing a long time.
yeah.
How was that? It's all.
It it added a depth and a richness, definitely, to it.
I love to accompany um, things like a prayer or things like if someone is doing a process, like an emotional process or a
Mhm.
service, something that's sacred, something that requires extra loving, extra care. I love to play behind that. Uh, it just adds that extra depth because sonically it goes wherever you need it in your body to go to help center you, to bring you back so that you can focus on the words, focus on that energy of that prayer, focus on what that means to you, and bring you home, home to yourself,
Yeah,
home to your spirit.
that's so beautiful. We are unfortunately running out of time. Um, how can people get in touch with you, Diann, if they want to learn more and hear more?
Why don't I give you my email address? And we have some wonderful things coming up shortly. And we also have a once a month Sunday sound bath and chat on our Facebook group, which is called The Voice, Music, and Energy Connection. And you're welcome to join it. It's free. And once a month, we have a little chat about which bowls we're going to deal with. And we're going to play and enjoy a sound bath and then have questions and answers after. And they get very lively and they get very peaceful. And it's just whatever the person needs who's there. And my email address is my name, Diann with two N's, at Diann, Diann, Alexander.com.
Wonderful. And we'll have that on the screen here for people as well as the Facebook group name. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to a lot of people hearing your bowls and experiencing music in a whole new way. So
Thank you,
God's
Kat.
peace.